Today, we continue the heartbreaking and inspiring story of James and Diep, two souls who have weathered the fiercest storms of their lives, yet remain steadfast in their love, refusing to let go even when fate threatens to tear them apart. Before that, James and Diep had joined a volunteer relief campaign in the northern mountains, helping families devastated by natural disasters. They brought necessities to each house, hugged frightened children to ease their fears, and tenderly cared for the elderly, small but compassionate acts that weaved threads of hope amid the devastation. But just as the air seemed to calm, disaster struck. A flash flood rushed downstream with terrible devastation, engulfing everything in its path. The roar of the rushing water drowned out the screams, drowned out by the pounding rain and strong winds. In the chaos, James and Diep tried to rally the others to higher ground. Instinctively, James pushed Diep toward a jagged rock, hoping it would give her a grip. Without time to put on a life jacket, the two were swept into the cold, merciless water. The volunteers only caught a glimpse. The murky water was pulling them under. Silence reigned. Hope seemed lost. But hope was not so easily extinguished. Diep's life jacket, the one James had thrust into her hands just seconds before the floodwaters began to pour down, became her life preserver. Drifting amid floating debris, overgrown weeds, and broken bamboo, her body remained afloat. Hours later, as the water receded, the rescue team found her, pale, motionless, her lips cold and blue, but still breathing. Someone must be watching over her, a rescue worker whispered, tears welling in his eyes as they rushed her to the hospital. Meanwhile, James, without the buoyancy of a life jacket, used all the composure he had learned. Memories of the survival lessons he had learned during his years studying abroad came flooding back. Instead of fighting the current, he let his body drift, conserving his strength, with one burning thought: I must live, for Diep, for our son. Then, like a beacon, a fallen tree appeared, its gnarled branches reaching out through the chaos. He clawed at the bark with his torn fingernails, pain shooting through his limbs, but he refused to let go. Bit by bit, he climbed the trunk above the rising water and finally sat down, shivering, soaked, but alive. The rain, now gentle, mingled with his tears as the first rays of warmth crept in, not because he was safe, but because he would have another chance. But James could not rest. He sat there, cold and numb, tormented by a deeper fear. Was Diep still alive? As dawn broke and the water receded downstream, he could wait no longer. He got down from the tree and began swimming, each stroke a silent plea for reunion. In the distance, the rumble of engines, voices cutting through the morning mist. A volunteer rescue boat, saw him making a sharp turn. He was pulled onto the boat, shaking, scratched, barely able to speak. The only question asked as they reached safety was, "Has anyone seen a little girl? Her name is Diep." The volunteers exchanged glances before one nodded slightly. "Yes. She's been found." "She's alive, though injured. We've taken her to the county hospital." The words were like a warm light that coursed through him. With a newfound strength born of love, James raced toward the hospital, his clothes soiled with mud, his body still aching, but his heart pounding with hope. Inside, he found Diep lying weakly on a hospital bed, gauze covering her head, the steady beeping of a heart monitor her only sound. Without hesitation, he took her cold hand and pressed it to his cheek. In that moment, all his horror, all his exhaustion melted into an overwhelming truth: she was here. She was alive. As the days passed, he stayed by her side, even when the doctors advised her to rest. He whispered lullabies, memories of unfulfilled dreams, even gentle jokes born of the familiar comforts of love. And perhaps those whispers woven the magic that brought her back. One gentle dawn, Diep blinked her eyes open. In that breathless moment, no more words were needed. They were together, alive. Recovery came slowly but surely. In thanksgiving, in quiet reverence rather than prayer, they held hands and walked toward a village church. The sunlight weaved a golden halo through the stained glass, enveloping them in peace. There, words became meaningless. Their eyes spoke gratitude, their hearts whispered prayers. Then, across the ocean, James video called mother and child, separated but united in love. "We're okay," he told his mother. Tears welled up in her eyes, relief, joy, and quiet gratitude. Diep bowed her head, her voice choked, her words thick with emotion. James wrapped his arms around her shoulders, leaning into her. They would never let fear or separation defeat them again. In the days that followed, they spoke little but shared deeply. Deep friendship replaced youthful passion. Simple gestures, a head on a shoulder, a whispered, "Thank you," for the gift of the present. Their love had endured the most severe trials, but emerged stronger, gentler, truer than ever. Their story, of rage, loss, survival, and unwavering devotion, is living proof that miracles exist in steadfast hearts. In the darkest hours, miracles quietly blossom. As you persevere, keep the light within, the sun will always rise again.